Hey everybody, it's Curse, and today I wanted to thank you for blessing me. We hit 1,000 subscribers just over the weekend, and let me tell you, I did not anticipate hitting 1K subs this quickly, just 2 months after starting the channel. So I'm really grateful, and I wanted to thank the community of Last Epoch and just ARPGs in general. Even before starting the channel, I knew that the Last Epoch community is amazing and just super friendly. And I mentioned this in my very first video, but I wanted to emphasize that again. I felt that again and again, where the community's support has kept me going and just motivated me to do better and better. And so I wanted to give a special thanks to the 1,000 plus subscribers that we have today. Also to everybody who joined my Discord channel and engaged in great interactions. I had a lot of good build suggestions, questions coming up, even just interactions between each other where people would suggest, hey, let's do this. Let's post more loot filters. Somebody would bring up and share loot filters with everybody else. And then we had somebody suggest that let's track the dungeon rewards that are happening every single day, and they're shared across the entire server so that everybody else can be aware of them. So now we have a sub channel in my Discord chat where we track that. And it's great. It's super rewarding. People can save time and not have to waste their keys checking what the reward for today is. And that's just one little thing of many, many different great interactions that I've had with everybody on Discord. So huge thank you. And then I want to thank everybody who commented on my YouTube videos as well. Tons of great discussion even there. You know, YouTube comments get a really bad rap over the years. They've just been pretty toxic in many cases, but that's not the case for these Last Epoch videos that I've seen. Everybody's super positive and even just helping me realize small little errors that I've made in my video. That's helpful. And giving suggestions, making improvements to certain builds. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. Of course, everybody who viewed the videos on YouTube, you know, we wouldn't be here without you as well. Everybody who commented on Reddit or the Last Epoch forum, threads that I created with my builds, I appreciate you as well. And also, I recently started streaming on Twitch just last week with the Diablo beta being released. And a huge thanks to the few people that joined my stream as well. You know, we had a really fun time. At least I did. I hope you did as well. It was great. Yeah, I just can't thank enough people for having contributed to this project and to this community and for being awesome. So as a thanks, I wanted to do a few different things. The first one is I wanted to talk about my humble beginnings and how I got into creating YouTube content and YouTube build guides about 2-3 months ago. The second one is I'm working on a 9-hour stream day on April 2nd, where we're going to be taking Last Epoch build ideas and just going through them and optimizing and min-maxing them as much as possible, just pushing them to the limit just to see how far we can go. And you can contribute to which builds we work on. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. And finally, the third thing I want to do is share a little bit more details about myself, but that will be a separate video that I'm still working on. In that video, I'll talk more about my Bulgarian, Japanese, Canadian origin story, and I'll have some fun with it. So let me talk to you a little bit about how I got into YouTube content creation about 2-3 months ago. As with most things in life, there were a variety of factors that contributed to it. And the first one, and probably the main one, is that I broke my leg playing soccer in October. It was bound to happen. I had already torn my ACL like 5-6 years prior to that. And I'd made a full recovery after a very frustrating kind of ACL reconstruction surgery recovery period. But within a year after coming back to soccer, I was just already overdoing it again. And I couldn't help myself, and I broke my leg, broke my ankle really. And that was a really pivoting point in life for me. It was a point where it was very clear that I'm getting old and there's no way around it. And I don't view getting old as this ailment or this pain that you have to deal with. To me, it's just a natural evolution of life. And you just have to be able to acknowledge it at some point, accept it, embrace it, and adapt with it. And so that was the point at which I was certain it was time to adapt. With having a wife and 2 kids at home and coming back and not being able to contribute to any of them in any meaningful manner, even putting a burden on them for a month and a half while my leg was healing, was very frustrating. And it's something that I never want to put them through again. And so that's how I kind of had to pick up a more reserved hobby, a hobby that does not put my body at risk. Even though I'm still considering going back to soccer as a goalie, if I ever make a full recovery from this ankle injury. But let's not talk about that. Anyway, so I broke my leg and I'm sitting and playing games because there's not much else I can do. I can't even go up and down the stairs very easily. And that had me thinking. And that's how I kind of really pushed the idea of creating YouTube videos quite a bit forward in my brain. And that was definitely the biggest contributing factor. Another contributing factor was work. And without going too much detail, basically, I just felt like work wasn't satisfying my creativity and it wasn't a good enough creative outlet for me. And I think all of you are going to be able to relate, I'm sure, where you have to deal with certain bureaucratic and hierarchical and governance realities in a corporate workplace. And that doesn't always create a very conducive environment to just build and to just make things happen and to just optimize and min-max to your heart's content. And so that was very frustrating for me. And I think this was the perfect way for me to find a different creative outlet and channel my energy into. So that was a second factor. And a third factor is that I've always had an affinity for, watching streams, watching YouTube videos, min-maxing builds within games. And this was I feel like a very natural progression for me. As soon as I started it, now after 2-3 months, I feel like, why didn't I start this earlier? It just feels so natural for me. Those were the 3 factors I would mention. And here we are today, a few videos in, a few subscribers in, and a long road ahead of us. I'll continue posting builds and creating content in the near future and for as long as I can, and as long as nothing else comes up and gets in my way. So for example, for the rest of the year, I do plan on posting Last Epoch content during April and possibly for a good chunk of May. I am considering playing Dungeon of the Endless during May when it comes out. And then Diablo starting June. I'm taking a couple of weeks off of work to be playing Diablo in particular. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be streaming a ton. I'll try to, get ahead of the meta and level up as fast as possible, get to the end game as fast as possible so I can share with you the optimal strategies in the end game. And obviously, I don't think I can compete with the likes of Crip, some next level god gamers. But when it comes to build creation, I do think I have something to offer. So we're going to have some good fun. And now let's talk about the stream on April the 2nd. As I mentioned, it's going to be a Last Epoch build min-maxing stream. And what we've done is I asked my Discord chat to give me ideas for builds that people would find interesting, that they would find interesting to see min-maxed. And we've compiled a list of 14 builds. And so I have them in a form format where you can assign points to them, from 1 to 3 for every single build. And so I would like you to go to the link in the description of this video and put a point for every single build. How many points do you give it in terms of how interested you are to see it being min-maxed? And so once I get the results probably about a week from now. I'll take the results and compile them and just basically rank order those builds from highest points to lowest points. And once the stream happens on April 2nd, we're going to go from top to bottom and see how many we can just go through and min-max as much as possible. Obviously, it's a 9-hour stream, so I expect to be able to do 2 or 3 builds at most. Hopefully 3. But min-maxing takes time, so it's going to be at least 3 hours to min-max a build. That's my estimate. And that's being generous. It's more likely going to be 4.5 hours, meaning there's only going to be 2 builds that we can go through. But still, I'll be very detailed in my thought processes and how I arrive at the final end state of the build and how I go through different iterations of testing this, testing that. And, you know, obviously some of them I would have put thought ahead of time. And so I would have to backtrack a little bit on those thought processes and try to verbalize them as much as possible. And you can help me with that. If you join the stream, ask questions. I'll be interacting with everybody in the chat and just being as detailed as possible so that we can together arrive at the best build possible. And so that's happening on April 2nd. The times are going to be, it's going to be in 3 different chunks so that we can give a little bit of breaks here and there for lunch, for spending a little bit of time with the kids so I don't get in too much trouble with the wife. You know how it goes. And then, so it's going to be from 8:30 to 11:30 PDT is going to be the first chunk. Then 12:30 to 3:30 PDT, the second chunk. And then finally, 7:30 to 10:30 PDT is the third chunk. I'm going to be posting these builds probably on Monday. I'm going to be scheduling these in my Twitch stream schedule, so you can check those out. Plan ahead to at least hopefully join at least one of those streams and tune in and contribute and have some fun with it, because I'm really excited for it. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of min-max and optimize together with everybody, because I can see everybody has similar thought process to mine. If we put our heads together, I think we can come up with some really epic builds, and it will be fun. And with that, I hope you've enjoyed the content that I've created. And regardless of how you feel about it, thank you, or should I say, arigatou gozaimasu.